WWE Money in the Bank 2019, what you need to know. So we're going to break down the big top stories of what happened at WWE's Money in the Bank 2019. And well, what a show it was for stories. I am Luke Owen. This is El Fakador Laurie Blake. Randy Datton is going to be monitoring your chats. We might not get a chance to get to your super chats during this because we just want to try and break down the big news stories from this as opposed to go into a full depth review. Ollie and housemate Simon will be back later on today to do that side of things. So this is literally just, we're going to break down the news.
Immediate thoughts.
And let's be honest. Okay, so the big story coming out of this show.
No, don't make me live it again.
Is that Rey Mysterio is the new United States champion.
Oh, Ray! I love Ray.
No, obviously I'm kidding. Brock Lesnar is back. Brock Lesnar is back with the company. Of course, I don't think he ever went anywhere. But not only that, Brock... Sorry, I just realized what I had to say. Brock Lesnar is Mr. Money in the Bank.
Mr. Beast in the Bank.
That's exactly what they're going to call him.
Yeah.
He is Beast in the Bank. Okay, so...
Mr. Money in the Beast. There's
the
always
start of the
money
show-
in the Banana Beast.
At the start of the show, Sami Zayn was concerned that Braun Strowman was going to try and attack and maim him. And so Triple H banned Braun Strowman from the building. That didn't work because Braun was around and he was
just knocking about.
He was beating up stagehands.
Already there.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of matches, all of a sudden you see Sami Zayn is strung up by his feet. And Triple H is like, well, I know who did this. It's that old Braun Strowman. So Triple H goes and finds Braun Strowman. And he's like, I know what you did, and what you did is not cool. You took out one of our competitors for Money in the Bank because you want to get your spot. And Braun's like, what, me? I didn't do it. And so Triple H says, well, okay, if you didn't do it, then who did? And it sets up who run over Sami Zayn. It was a big murder mystery for the whole evening. And so we were speculating, it could be Bray Wyatt, it could be Aleister Black, it could be this, it could be that, it could be him, it could be who. And no, the match starts. 7 men come down. The match just kicks off, and Michael Cole goes, well, I guess 7 people are in this match then.
Yeah, they don't even... There's no pause. There's no no one goes maybe we should wait until number 8 comes out, or, something just really keen on the ring bell. Ding, 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 ding.
Guess we're starting.
Off we go.
Sammy's still there.
And so we're having this match, and it's actually really good.
It's a really good match.
Really, really good match.
Not for Finn Balor's back, but it's great for everyone else.
Yeah. Really enjoying this match. And then all of a sudden, you have... Is it Ali was at the top? Who was it?
Ali was at the top. So there was the ring had been cleared. Ali climbs. He literally gets within grasping distance, touches the briefcase, is about to go for the clip, and boom!
Brock Lesnar's music hits. Brock Lesnar then storms down to the ring, looking very lean Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, UFC shaped Brock Lesnar.
And he just pushes ladders hither and yonder to get out of the way. Just
knocks over quite a lot of crew,
killing fans. Gets in the ring, pushes over the ladder, then grabs a ladder of his own, and then goes up and
takes his sweet time.
Sweet time, grabs the briefcase, the bell rings, ding, 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 and Brock Lesnar is announced as the winner. I burst out laughing.
I despair.
Because it's one of those things where I was like, well, of course Brock won.
Yeah.
Of course he did. What else was I expecting?
To be fair, after the show we watched, I was trained to have... I should have seen that coming.
Yeah, exactly. We all should have...
Why are we surprised anymore?
One person said in the comments, it'll be Brock Lesnar. And we all went, I mean... I mean, it won't be Brock Lesnar. But of course it was Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So Brock Lesnar is Money in the Bank. He's Mr. Money in the Bank. He's Mr. Beast in the Bank.
I can't believe it.
I am stunned, but also unsurprised at the same time. It's a remarkable feeling for this company.
Randy had the very good point of saying to do this in the same 7 days in which we're getting Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing is less than 7 days away. It's 6 days away.
Like you were saying earlier, Stephanie had a meeting where she said our direct competitors are AEW. The first time they've ever referenced another wrestling promotion as their direct competitors in recent memory. And they've gone back to the well of the thing that ruined the ratings in the first place.
Well, Baron Corbin.
Yeah, well,
It's all your-
Corbin
all your
too,
fault,
but
Baron
like
Corbin.
the Brock Universal title run
It
and
totally didn't
Roman
help.
Reigns hot swapping was one of the biggest points of contention with fans, I think, going.
Yeah.
Was that it just like, it killed Raw in the sense that there was just no value in that Universal title because it didn't exist on that brand.
Yeah.
And
Well,
now we are giving the guy who, I like Brock, and I think Brock has had some very good matches recently. He's also had some terrible matches where he doesn't care. When he cares, he's very good. The problem is we are now associating that guy back into the main pool of like, at any point, he's got this thing and he can just turn up and do stuff with
So
it.
for me, I don't think it's a case of he's going to have this for very long.
No.
And I think actually more damaging, this is all done for the Saudi show. This is all done for Super Showdown because the rumored match for Super Showdown was Seth versus Brock in a rematch.
That's a show which every other match has had no build-up. You don't need to build up those matches.
Absolutely, you could have just announced Seth versus Brock for that
and
show,
no one would have
and
cared.
no one would have
Yeah,
batted
yeah.
an eyelid. For me, I think Brock is coming out on Raw tomorrow, and he's going to announce, "I'm cashing this in at Super Showdown. I'm challenging Seth for the Universal Championship,"
Yeah, but
and
so-
that's how you set up that
Yeah, but
match.
so this is the difference though. But there's a difference between the unannounced Saudi side of things, where you go, we're doing Goldberg versus Undertaker, first time ever, blah 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 blah, and the Saudi fans go, amazing, that's happening here in this country. This is their piss poor attempt to get regular WWE fans to be like, oh, I want to watch Super Showdown. Wonder where that's happening.
This feels like a bit of a swerve. This is very much a swerve to get people to tune in tomorrow. One of the other things they've done tomorrow, we'll get onto very shortly, is one of the other big stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for me, this is all done to set up the Saudi show. But that kind of seems like a last minute decision because, and we need to jump onto other topics, but the report was prior to this show that WWE were going to use the men's specifically, the men's Money in the Bank winner to push their next big star.
Yeah.
And it turns out their next big star is Brock Lesnar.
So unless
He's the next big thing.
Yeah, unless in a show in which the referees made some blindingly terrible calls in
This
multiple
was a
matches.
Bonkers show for
So
that.
unless this and some of those bits were to set up this idea that some of these calls are so bad that we can walk back Brock Lesnar winning the Money in the Bank briefcase and have another Money in the Bank match tomorrow.
Do you know what? I'm sorry to cut you off, but I said this about the women's one. I said they're going to have, this is before Alexa Bliss had been taken out, I said Nikki Cross is going to win, and now they're going to use that to nullify it, and they'll do another Money in the Bank ladder
Pop
match
ratings.
to pop a rating.
Yeah.
So actually, what you saying there, that's not
So they
the
could,
worst
like,
shout.
I feel like they could do a schmooze of the rules and be like, look, hey, we need to do another Money in the Bank. So next week's Raw, because this week's Raw has the very exciting Mick Foley announcing a new title. So next week's Raw, we have the Money in the Bank again.
Yeah.
Like, pop the ratings.
Right.
But what a terrible way to do it in a show which featured just terrible finish after terrible finish to then give people another finish which was just like, oh, I didn't want this.
And it's the finish we saw at Hell in a Cell
Yeah.
just a few months ago. Yeah. Rope breaks in a cage match. That's what we also got on tonight's show. What we also got on tonight's show, our second big story of the evening, is that we had not one, but two new SmackDown Women's Champions on this show. Becky Two Belts is now Becky Uno Belt. She's Becky One Strap because she did defeat Lacey Evans in her first title defense quite handily.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. It didn't feel like Lacey really put up much of a challenge. She gave her one shot block at the end, but then she quickly locked in the disarmer, tapped her out, and she gave this big wacky tap
But
out
after like
thing.
a weird roll up as well, right? Like this was a
Yeah.
So Lacey had
I thought
Becky,
that was a play off the Mania finish.
Yeah, but Lacey had Becky in a roll up and the ref didn't count.
No,
yeah.
he was looking at the
but
shoulders.
You make more of that. Like
Yeah.
you didn't make enough of that. And then walked around as Becky did the slowest roll into the disarmer I've seen.
Yeah.
And then then this tap out.
So she tapped out Lacey, and then she's making her exit. All of a sudden, Charlotte Flair's music hits.
Yep.
And Charlotte Flair walks down, big smile on her because she's like, now I can have my title match. But we're sitting there going like, well, Becky's fine.
Yeah.
Becky's
Beautiful,
all right.
like
She's had a 4-minute match.
Wonderful idea though. Like
Wonderful idea.
On paper, that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
This thing though needs to set up that thing.
Yes.
This thing doesn't exist without that thing.
Yeah.
So like the chop block should have been like the final piece of that puzzle coming together, but there was no working over of the leg. in the Lacey match.
Yeah.
Like, if Lacey had gone to the well on Becky's leg over and over again, hobbled her basically. Also, because Becky, history of knee injuries in WWE kayfabe, like, do that, sure, because then you set up Becky for a match when Charlotte smilingly runs out to the ring to capitalize on this injury, basically having a Money in the Bank cash-in moment on Becky without having to actually cash in the briefcase. You're setting her up for the finish that Charlotte does all the time.
Yeah.
The leg submission move, the figure eight. Like, this all makes perfect sense. And then to just go like, yeah, she beat Lacey and now Charlotte's here. Great.
And then Charlotte beat Charlotte. It's well done. But Charlotte beat Becky because Lacey gave Becky the women's right on the outside, and then Charlotte was able to. She did
A big boot.
a big. She went with a big boot that she completely whiffed, missed her by a country mile, and then pinned Becky. So Becky loses the SmackDown Women's Champion. So all this momentum of Becky 2 belts is all undone, completely undone. A waste of time this was. And then Charlotte and Lacey start beating down Becky. And Bayley had won the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women's title earlier in the night. So the crowd start chanting Bayley, 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 Bayley. And they leave it for a little while. Bayley runs down. Bayley clears house. And then Bayley looks and goes, I've got the belt. I've got the briefcase. I could be a champion. And so she cashes in and she pins Charlotte Flair. Bayley is your new SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yeah.
And after the one thing I suppose we did skip over was that when Becky lost the belt to Charlotte, she exited the ring and she started attacking Lacey Evans. And that's why Charlotte Flair got involved, and that's why the two of them started beating her down. So what we're essentially setting up here is that on the SmackDown side of things, we're going to have Charlotte versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and you're going to have Becky versus Lacey for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, again, on paper, this one sounds fine for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah, it makes
because
sense. That makes sense.
Charlotte would be like, you stole my title. And then
I
Bayley was
won
like,
that
I
minutes
want it
before.
fair. I want it fair and square. And you can have that as your title feud.
Yeah.
This Raw one, though, doesn't make a lick of sense.
No.
Because Becky beat Lacey very easily.
Yeah.
There was no challenge for Becky.
No. I just don't understand this booking at all. To me, the Charlotte beating Becky, like, I get the logical sense of taking one of the belts off Becky because it does really muff up your women's division to have one person holding all the titles, you know, like to just go like, this is all capped now. Everything ends at Becky and all we can do is have feuds. But like I said earlier, this should have been a Raw feud, and then next pay-per-view is a SmackDown feud. Next pay-per-view is a Raw feud. Next pay-per-view is a SmackDown feud. And then you do the big build to on this night, you have to defend both belts. And that is the night she can drop it. Or, you know, or the better option, if Bayley's cashing in, Bayley cashes in on Becky. Why not have Becky beat Lacey, Becky beat Charlotte, Bayley comes in and cashes in on Becky.
Yeah.
And Becky, after having fought 2 matches, loses one of the titles.
Stolen from her.
They're stolen from her. Because the 10-second interim in which Charlotte had the belt means nothing if Bayley comes in and cashes in. So why not just keep some of the mystique around Becky intact? Because the two defenses doesn't feel like enough here. Like, they just didn't make enough of the Lacey match to make that Charlotte cash in because she came out early for her match, so Becky got no rest. Like, that cash in moment didn't feel like anything.
That for me is the big thing here. It feels like this kills all the Becky 2 belt. I mean, like, it's dead. Becky 2 belts is done.
It was her first attempt.
First attempt at doing it.
Yeah.
And it's dead now. So you can't do Becky 2 belts.
Give Charlotte another title reign,
Yeah.
even if it was 15 seconds. But
Yeah.
it just adds to her number of reigns.
I think killing Becky 2 belts deader than dead, is a short-sighted error. Because that was when she came out, what was everyone chanting? Becky 2 belts.
But especially because the WrestleMania finish was a botch. And felt like
it looked screwy.
It
basically
looked screwy
Ronda
and
didn't have a shoulder down.
it was. But that's the thing. But that, like, people have said that wasn't
It was a flat finish.
That wasn't the proper finish. That it was a bit flat. Like, you know, that felt like she'd stolen that victory when actually what she was meant to do was, a lot of the reports said she was meant to tap out Charlotte clean in the centre of the ring, and instead she gets this sort of schmozzy roll up on Ronda. So like already that had this hanging over it, and then to do this just goes like, none of that meant anything, did it? Like none of that big WrestleMania moment mattered at all.
Absolutely not.
And unfortunately, it is part of it's a symptom of having a WrestleMania in which we had 3 big championship moments that fans were waiting for. Like Brock finally losing the Universal title. It didn't even matter that it was Seth. It was just Brock finally losing it. Kofi winning.
I'll get it back in a minute.
Yeah, Kofi winning it and Becky winning. Like, in which we had all 3 of those. One of those was always going to go sour here. Mm-hmm. And it happened to be this one.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for me, what sucks about this is not just that we killed Becky 2 belts. Is that I think the Bayley's win is kind of sort of overshadowed by Becky losing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Bayley winning kind of overshadows Becky losing. It's a really... Sorry, I'm muddling my words there, but it's a really... Becky losing the belt all of a sudden felt very inconsequential.
Yeah.
Because you're so focused... So you're so focused on the Bayley thing.
This is what they were hoping.
But then you suddenly think about the Bayley thing, you're like, oh, but Becky lost. And like, it only takes a little modicum of thought to get you back to that original point. But the last big talking point, actually, we had 2 to choose from here. And we've written down screwy finishes because we had the Joe Ray finish and we had the Miz Shane finish. But I forgot new title.
Yeah.
The new title is being announced on Raw tomorrow. So they announced on this show, Mick Foley is going to be on Raw tomorrow. It's going to be on Monday's Raw. It's going to be on Monday's Raw. And he's introducing the new WWE title. And that's not a new championship redesign. They are introducing a new championship belt to be competed over.
Which you can tell because they had a terrible... It's actually,
mystery.
It was almost a WrestleTalk graphic. It
really
was a silhart with
pretty much
lots
with
of
the
question marks in it.
Arrows pointing to
it. Yeah.
Did they just introduce
a circle, yellow arrow?
But it was we're getting yet another belt on this show that really does not need any more belts.
No,
half these belts mean diddly squats.
Well, as we saw from this show, like there was no Raw tag team title match. There was no women's tag team title match.
SmackDown tag champs lost.
Yeah, SmackDown tag champs lost. There was no Intercontinental title match. Finn didn't even bring the belt to the Money in the Bank match. The US title match was a screw in 10 seconds. So like nothing but the Universal title and WWE Championship matter at all.
So now we're going
to have another belt.
And
not matter.
With it being the hardcore legend Mick Foley, you'd assume, and that's what was going on in our chats as well, and I think a lot of people on Twitter as well, they're going to bring back the hardcore title.
Yeah,
or at the very least, the 24/7 rule.
Yeah, that or the multiple personality disorder belt. Like it's one of the one of the two.
One of the two. The bedpan belt.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a new championship on Raw on Monday. And if it is the 24/7 rule, we were kind of arguing on the show that that's kind of good in principle because it's like, oh, it'll be interesting. But really, when you think about that 24/7 rule in 2000, it had a shelf life of about 3 to 4 months before it became silly and everyone lost interest. It doesn't pop a rating.
No.
So introducing a new belt will pop a rating. And perhaps the first couple of switches will pop a rating. But after that, people will be like, no, I've seen that now.
Yeah, but I think like if you did a 24/7 rule of a hardcore belt now, it would, to my mind, be like a social media only belt. Like in the middle of the night, WWE
belt.
In the middle of the night, WWE could just be like, puts out on Twitter like, this belt's being defended right now. Facebook Live, like, you know what I mean? Like there's that kind of. There's scope for that kind of thing with it. No, it's terrible, but that's kind of how I see it going.
The ratings are tanking. The YouTube stuff's fine. Like it's fine. You're not making much money off of that.
Yeah.
You need to be focused on your ratings here, not really Facebook watch. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting a brand new championship belt in this company. Like we need another one. Randy, you've got
we've got like a few super chats, not very long. If we just want to.
Oh yeah, if we could really breeze through those, yes, please. Sorry, we're not trying to rush through them. We're just we're trying to keep this as short. Yeah.
Mr. Michael Law says, "Can't stay as I've got to get up early, but fudge the end." Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't say fudge, but Sawyer says Finn died for this.
Oh man, poor old Finn Balor.
I feel so bad for everyone in that match who wasn't Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Like,
and Randy. Randy didn't take any
oh,
bumps.
and yeah, Randy no bumps. Yeah, but like,
Randy no bumps was my favourite thing in the whole show.
but are Lee, Ricochet, McIntyre, Finn Balor, like, I feel so bad for those guys because they did all the work, and to have Brock Lesnar mooch out
brother.
to disappear off into the ether
It's
again.
a swerve, brother. What we got next?
It's horrible.
K2 Weg says #SWAF Nation. Indeed. Iconic Bud Ryan says, here's some money so Brock isn't the only one with full pockets tonight. Honestly, love you lads and appreciate the content. Thanks for the fun live stream. Thanks for always trying to remain positive.
We love you too.
We're trying really hard.
Oliver Fenward Thomas, no message but a nice donation. Thank you to him.
Thank you.
Robert Freilich says, late to the chat, but Brock to hold the case till SmackDown move to Fox.
I think it's a Super Showdown
Yeah.
thing. But you know what?
Really.
That's not the worst idea. That's really not a bad shout.
That's preferable if he just takes it and does what he did with the Universal title and sods off into the ether. I don't mind, and then just reappears at some point later. Fine.
And if it is Super Showdown, I fully expect Brock to win as well. 100%.
Maybe this is also the start of like the UFC crossover weird world that they wanted to do. And it's a better way to do it without the belt. Is just to do it with a
briefcase.
I literally have this thing that means I can just walk back in there and have a title shot.
Maybe that's a new belt. Two more. Streamslayer says they're going to reveal my first live Wrestle Ramble Super Chat Donator Championship. #spoilers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lastly, Wesley Kirby says Bayley couldn't cash in on Becky because that would make her a heel, and they're billing her as the female John Cena.
Well, we said the same thing in the live stream, actually. Yeah, the Bayley cashing in would have felt like a very heel move. So, but in which case, then don't put on Bayley. This is the problem: is that you're making an argument for WWE making their own. They back themselves to the corner, and be like, well, now what do we do?
Well, we said on the live stream as well. Bayley was the only woman in that Money in the Bank ladder match who equally on SmackDown on Tuesday could have had one match and been the number one contender. And no one would have batted an eyelid.
Yeah.
Dana Brooke couldn't have done that. And no one else in that match could have just gone I win one thing and I'm number one contender. Bayley easily could have.
Yeah. It's the SmackDown tag thing.
She doesn't need a briefcase.
Let's go.
And it's like that meme where someone is shooting someone and then he goes, why would WWE do this when they've done it themselves? It's
it's the SmackDown tag division thing of they've put the belts on Bryan and Rowan because they don't have a tag division. And the reason they don't have a tag division is they moved all the tag champs, so all the tag teams over to Raw. And now they've suddenly realized, now we don't have a tag division on SmackDown, so the Usos have to beat the SmackDown tag champs so they can set up a feud for a brand they're not even a part of.
Yes.
And it's well, you created this problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got no one to blame but yourself. But anyway, we need to get out of here. We've got much longer than we intended to on this, but thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who joined us on our live stream of Money in the Bank itself. I've been Luke Owen. This has been our fake adore, Laurie Blake. Do click the videos that have just been on here if you're watching on catch-up. That's been Randy Datson, and that was wrestling.